Hello and welcome to this session in which we will discuss refund liabilities and rights of return. When do you issue a refund? You issue a refund when you have a sales return. And when do you have a sales return? You have a sales return when the company allowed their customers to return some of their product. So you buy something for one reason or another, you want to return it. If you have the right to return it, then the company will have the obligation to either refund your money if you paid, or if you bought it on credit, they'll have to reduce your accounts payable. In other words, they reduce the amount that you owe them. Why do we have to do this? Because we cannot assume that every sale will remain final. So if company knows, from experience or other evidence, they know that there's some product are likely to be returned, and companies would know this. Why would they know this? Because that's their business. They know on average for every 1,000 unit they sell, 30, 40, 50, 10, whatever the number is returned. So the company must recognize the expected refunds at the time of the revenue is recorded. In other words, they have to proactively say, we are going to be refund that much, anticipate that refund. At the time, we recognize the revenue. So to anticipate this refund, we have to create a refund liability. What's a refund liability? It's a liability. It's the amount that the company expects to pay back the customers for future returns. And this liability will reduce the amount of revenue recognized because the company is not expected to keep all the consideration received. So if you had $1 million worth of sales and you expect to refund of that 50,000, your revenue or your sales is 950, not $1 million. So this is what we will discuss in this session, the accounting of it. How do we account for sales with the right of returns, which generate a refund liability, and it's going to involve inventory as well. So let's go ahead and dive deeper into this topic. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, FarhatLectures.com.
My AI turns any lecture into a complete study system. You can create summary table, formulas, and example from each lecture. Flashcard builds from the lesson itself. A quiz build on the lesson. And as a bonus, convert any lecture into a portable short audio on the go. So it helps you with the retention. No noise, no generic responses, just clarity based on that specific lecture. Don't just watch, interact, test yourself, and retain the material using Farhat AI. Now go to FarhatLectures.com now and see how the AI can help you understand, practice, and retain the material.
Let's look for accounting for sales with right of return. So when the product are sold with the return privileges, the seller must anticipate three things. Or must anticipate return and record three things at the proper amount. First is revenue. The revenue should only equal to the amount the company expects to keep after considering the estimated return. So you sold $1 million worth of goods, you expect to keep 950, that's your total revenue. You have to proactively record a liability called refund liability. That's the portion of the sales that you expect to actually either refund, credit to the customer, or exchange. And you have to anticipate an asset called expected return inventory, that you will be getting that inventory back and you'll have to put that inventory on the books. So we're dealing with three different things: revenue, liability, and an asset. So together, these entries ensure that both revenues, assets, as well as liabilities are reported at amounts that reflect management best estimate. At the end of the day, these are all estimates because you don't know how much you'll have to issue in refunds. So what do? You estimate. And the best way to illustrate this is to look at an example. July 1st, Horizon Electronics sells merchandise 50,000 cash. And based on prior experience, we expect this type of merchandise to experience an 8% sales return. Now the cost of the sale equal to 60% of the selling price. So this is the cost. 60% times 80,000 is the cost for Horizon. Later, on July 20th, customer returned merchandise with the original selling price of $2,500. Horizon refunds the customers in cash. The cost of the merchandise is $1,500, which is 60% of $2,500. The first thing we are going to do is what? Estimate the expected sales return, because that's the first estimate. And what's the expected sales return? 80,000 times 8%. We expect to refund 6,400 worth of liabilities. So the revenue should be recorded only for that net amount. So the expected sales revenue should be 80,000 minus 6,400, which is 73,600. Well, let's book the journal entry for this. So we debit cash. We have cash in the account, 80,000, because we received the cash. We create a liability of 6,400, and we credit sales revenue for the net amount of 73,600. So this entry records the cash received, the expected amount to be refunded, and the revenue we expect to keep, which is 73,600, although we thought it's 80,000. Now we record cost of sales. Debit cost of sales for 60% of sales, which is debit cost of sales 48,000, credit inventory 48,000. So that's basically something we need to be familiar with. Debit cost of sales, credit inventory. Are we done yet? We have to record the estimated inventory because some inventory will be returned to us. Because Horizon expects some merchandise to be returned, it should recognize an asset for the inventory it expects to recover. So the sales, remember, is the return is 6,400 and 60% of that is cost. So 60% of that. So we expect estimated return of 3,840 at cost. It means we have to debit an account called estimated inventory return asset, 3,840. This is a phantom asset. This is an asset that only exists on right now as phantom. In other words, we expect this asset to be with us. Why? Because when they return the 6,400, 3,840 is cost to us. Then we reduce cost of sales. Why do we reduce cost of sales? Because when we book this entry, we debited cost of sales. So we reduce cost of sales because we assume that's a contra sales. We are reducing the sales. So this entry reduced the cost of sales and anticipate the inventory. Now let's actually record the return. On July 20th, the customer returned 2,500 worth of merchandise. What do we have to do? We have to issue a refund. At this point, we debit the refund liability, 2,500, we credit cash. So we gave them the check for 2,500 and we reduced the liability that we created earlier, which is 6,400. Notice we did not touch revenue because revenue was already adjusted when we booked the original entry. We recorded the revenue at the net amount. Are we done yet? Not yet. Now we have to record the inventory that was returned to us. They gave us back 2,500 worth of sales, of which 60% is cost to us, 1,500. Now we have to take those boxes back and put them back in inventory at 1,500 and remove the phantom inventory, the estimated inventory of 1,500. So notice this inventory account now is going down. It's turning into actual inventory because the customer actually returned the inventory. So this entry puts the returned inventory back into actual inventory and reduce the estimated inventory. Now, if you're interested, this is the T account for the refund liability. We started with 6,400. We reduced it by 2,500 when we issued the customers, and what's left is 3,900 credit balance. Now, what's going to happen to this? Maybe we have additional refund, maybe we don't, but now we still anticipate 3,900. The estimated inventory started at 3,840. We reduced 1,500. We have a debit balance of 2,340. What does that mean? It means we still expect to receive inventory of 2,340. So I call it phantom asset, phantom inventory, because we don't have 2,340 worth of inventory, although it's an asset on the asset side of the balance sheet, but it's estimated inventory. Now let's wrap it up. Why refund liabilities are recorded? Well, because we have to report revenue at the amount we expect to retain. Liabilities will have to be recorded for the expected future refunds, and assets for merchandise expected to be recovered from customers. So we have to anticipate. We're looking into the future to find out what should be our actual inventory, actual liability, and what should be our net revenue. We should not overstate revenue. Now, what should you do now? Go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional resources, multiple choice, true, false, simulation, cases, exercises, AI quizzes, AI CPA questions, AI flashcards, AI podcast. Farhat Lectures is there to help you invest in yourself, whether you are a CPA, CMA candidate, or an accounting student. And that's the best investment you can make. And God bless.